Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my Robinhood portfolio. What I thought I'd do today is talk a little bit about international stocks. This has to do with a discussion about diversification, about a video I put out last week, and through some discussions I had, a lot of you guys were asking about international stocks and if buying international stocks would be a good way to diversify. So I thought I'd just kind of quickly talk about international stocks and how you can buy those on Robinhood. So for the most part, you can't buy international stocks on Robinhood other than some ADR stocks, which I'll talk about in another video. It gets a little bit complicated with those. But what you can do is buy ETFs that have their underlying portfolios composed of international stocks. I have a few I'd like to talk about here today that I've kind of screened through, and I might even buy one of these in the future just to kind of play around and have a little bit of fun with these. And as you guys know with ETFs, there's essentially an ETF out there for any type of investor. There's ETFs out there for global industrial companies, companies from only developed countries, stocks or ETFs from only developed, or excuse me, emerging markets, not developed countries such as like Latin America, Africa, those sorts of locales. ETFs for Japan, for the Eurozone, for the Middle East, for India. Really, an ETF out there for any type of investor, any type of industry you want to get into. So I have a couple different ETFs here I'll talk about, each with a little bit different take on, or a little bit different composition of the international market. So the first one here, IRV, this is a SPDR, S&P International Markets Fund here. You can see it's a International Materials Sector ETF, which is tracking a market cap weighted index of non-U.S. materials companies from developed markets. So these are large companies from Japan, Germany, and China. You can see it does not have a great dividend yield. Their PE ratio is actually pretty high at 99.5, or excuse me, 99.458. Market cap is sort of a mid cap there, 11.98 million. The volume's only 90,000 or so. A lot of stocks will trade in the hundreds of thousands, if not six figures daily. So volume's not that high. It's sort of a mid cap stock here. Very interesting stock. Could be added to a portfolio. Let's kind of take a look at the performance here. Over the last 5 years, really hasn't done anything. It's actually lost some, 6.25%. Over the last year, 52% up. And over the last 3 months, 11, and 1 month, 9. So, not sure if this is a great long-term buy. I was reading something with the fact that if there is strong U.S. performance, the international stocks sort of lag with regards to performance. Domestic stocks definitely outperform international stocks at the moment, so I'm not sure if this is a great way of diversifying your portfolio, but you can definitely buy international stocks. The next one here is RTR, Revenue Shares ADR Fund. You can see this is Oppenheimer, ADR Revenue Fund that's tracking a revenue-weighted version of the S&P ADR Index, which draws its holdings from the S&P Global 1200 index. So this is a lot of Japanese companies. I think Toyota's in here. There's also some Chinese companies. Petro China is in here. You can see it has a very, very low volume, 571. You can always tell if a stock has a low volume with this sort of blocked out graph here. Essentially, you don't have anybody trading the stock, so the stock just kind of lingers at a particular price point until a trade is made. So you can see throughout the day here, there's probably only a couple trades made. So the price is not a smooth kind of graph as you would see with stock that's trading, in the millions of shares per day. The third one here is HEZU. This is an iShares ETF. If you see on the bottom there below my logo, it's an Eurozone ETF tracking a cap-weighted index of large and mid-cap securities from the Eurozone, so essentially European companies. And it's a little bit more sophisticated, hedging out its exposure to the euro currency relative to the US dollar. So, big thing with Eurozone stocks is there's always a big play between the euro with regards to the financial currency of Europe as well as the dollar. So, depending on what the exchange rate is between the dollar and euro, it can really affect the price of stocks, whether they're expensive or cheap. So, that's always a consideration when buying European companies here, but it's definitely possible to buy European companies here. You can see this is a much larger fund here, 1.16 billion for market cap. You can see the volume is also much greater, 208,000 or so. So another kind of cool ETF you can buy to get into some European companies. The last one here is VXUS. This is a Vanguard fund. You can see on the bottom here, this is International Stock ETF tracking a market cap weighted index of global stocks covering 99% of the world's global markets capitalization outside the U.S. So this is a very broad-ranging fund, international fund, essentially covering developed and emerging markets, kind of trying to avoid some of the volatility that can definitely be had or experienced within international funds. So kind of a cool stock here. It's got a much larger volume. You can see 500,000 there, much larger market cap as well, 6.80 billion. It's a Vanguard fund, so you know it's going to be a nice fund there. It's got a great dividend yield, 3.257. So out of all the funds I've talked about, this is probably the best one that I would get into. Again, you can see it's underperformed domestic stocks here over the last 5 years, 23.62% up. Last 3 months, 5.23%. So a little bit better than the other 3 funds, but still, I don't think I would add any of these at the moment. You know, I might add one just to play around with them, but I think domestic stocks have much better performance at the moment. So, yeah, just wanted to talk about 4 different ETFs with regards to international stocks. It's definitely possible to get into some international stocks on Robinhood through ETFs. Again, can't really buy foreign companies on Robinhood. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. But from my understanding, you can buy some ADR stocks, but you can't buy any stocks that aren't necessarily traded on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. So, again, VXUS, HEZU, RTR, and IVR. 4 different international ETFs that you can buy to get into some action with regards to international stocks. So kind of with that, I'll end the video here. Let me know if you guys are interested at all in international stocks. I, for the most part, probably won't be getting into international stocks. I'll stick with the large cap, blue chip, high dividend yield U.S. companies that performed very well over the last 50 years or so for my buy and hold strategies. And then forward and portfolio I'm doing with day and swing trades at the moment, and looking to add to those. Some of you guys have offered some very interesting stocks that I'm taking a look at, and I may do a little bit of day and swing trading with those from your guys' suggestions. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing with your portfolios. Kind of with that, I'll end the video. As always, if you enjoy my videos, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. The whole point of these videos is to learn about the investing world, not only for myself, but for you guys as well. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Any good video topics, let me know. You guys have definitely given me quite a few suggestions, so working on getting those videos out. And yeah, kind of with that, I'll end the video here, and we'll see you guys next time.